you, everybody, for coming. Alan gave us a wonderful site to work with here. It's significant in a couple of ways. First of all, as you all know, Miami is basically a grid city. Everything sits on an orthogonal grid. This site is exceptional because it is really the start of the road section where the whole grid of the city shifts about 15 degrees. And our project abuts that whole road section to the south, which runs down this way here. We use that as a taking off point for the geometry of the building, which you can see we've held all the street walls on the two sides there. In addition, which this doesn't happen to us very often, but this building has got long views on basically three sides of this building. Most of the buildings you see up and down Brickell basically have a Brickell frontage, and then they have buildings next to them that are very close. So without denigrating any of the other buildings, they become more facade type architecture. I'm not saying they're two-dimensional, but their prominence is one-sided, which is to Brickell. We have a situation here where we're lucky enough to have our building really exhibited in 3 dimensions. And if you ever come up from the south up I-95, you can see this building for miles. So with that in mind, and before we started any design, Alan took me on a tour of the Four Seasons, KPF's building across the street, Espiritu Santo, and said, Bruce, this is the competition that we're dealing with. So, you know, I want you to do something that can hold its own with these really wonderful neighbors. And so we've come up with this. His vision, and I'll say this, hopefully it's politically correct, being a Spanish guy, he wanted this building to have an image of a beautiful woman in an elegant gown. So we kind of
I'm getting some frowns around.
interpreted this in a very abstracted way. You know, for us as architects, you know, we've always been intrigued with the idea of using glass as a solid element. It kind of introduces an ambiguity to the whole concept of glass, which is inherently transparent, but using it to shape some solid elements. So we've done these pieces on the outside of the building, which kind of add to the crescendo. It really recognizes this intersection of 15th and Brickell, which we felt was a very important intersection. So the building at once lays back on those two sides, on Brickell and 15th, and also kind of thrusts forward from the bottom up to about the 15th floor here. And the
Feel free to walk around this way so that you can appreciate what Bruce is talking about. Everyone is sort of in the back of the model. All right.
So it's all about kind of pulling up to the corner. In addition, from a planning standpoint, Alan felt it was very important to communicate through the block to the plaza that he created for One Broadway here to the west. So there is actually a breezeway through the building at the ground floor that communicates from Brickell all the way to Miami Avenue there. And that was a kind of a tricky planning exercise because we had to build the lobby basically all the way to the south, which is divorced from the loading and the service, which is to the north. So we had some planning gymnastics to work through there, but we felt it came out pretty nice. So after that, I mean, let's go look at the building.
Okay. It is 35 stories, 576,379 rentable square feet. The typical floor plate is about 25,000 square feet. Highly efficient to lay out for professional services firms, financial services firms, our typical users.